What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so time to jump into another uniform review, and we're going to be looking at Corvus in this one. So here we have Corvus's Infinity War uniform. The bonus that he's going to get is going to be a 15% increase to physical attack, an increase to damage dealt to superhero types by 15%, which is really nice because superheroes are all over the place, at least for the PvP area of the game, so he's going to be quite useful in that aspect for at least trying to take care of a lot of those pesky heroes running around. So let's go ahead and see here. We have 5 skills that are being changed. Alright, let's look through here. Alright, so he's going to have a bleed on the pierce, which I believe is the same as before. And then for his summons, he's going to have 2 summons here, and he's going to have a guard against 6 hits. Which is really nice because it's going to help out his survivability and also protect him when he is summoning his clones, because that is something he did not have before. There was no Iframe or anything like that. But he does summon his clones really quickly, so don't necessarily need that guard, but it is nice to have. And as you can see, it's only 3 seconds, so it's pretty much just for while he's casting this skill here. And then for the Peekaboo, it is now going to give him a buff, and he's going to get a all attack increase by 10%, and all defense by 10%, and all speed by 10%. And finally, you're also going to have the 4 seconds of damage immunity as well. That's going to be on a 7-second cooldown, so you can keep this active the entire time if you spam the skill right when it comes off of cooldown. So let's go ahead and jump in here and take a look at how these skills actually look. Alright, so let's go ahead and use the first skill. Alright, which is pretty cool because he throws his glaive around. Goes flying around like a boomerang, hitting them quite a few times. But there's no iframes, so you don't really have much protection on that skill. His second skill, he teleports around and pretty much does like an energy beam right there. So very, very similar to Dormammu's third skill. But I do like it because it gives him an iframe, which is awesome, and it looks like it's going to do a decent amount of damage because we're getting quite a few hits there, 36 hits, so that is nice. And now the third skill, which is an amazing skill, by the way. I love the animation for that skill. So he goes in there with his glaive, does a lot of jab attacks, and then he has kind of like an after image of himself right there, or another like shadow clone or something like that, that does a few hits afterwards to keep pushing the enemy backwards. Which is really nice, and especially since this has an iframe on it, it's going to be a very powerful skill. And as you can see, he finishes quite a distance back from the enemy, so he pushes them away, and then he's got a fair distance between him and the enemy, so it's a pretty safe skill anyway, even after you get out of the iframe. So yeah, definitely a really nice skill, and of course it has that paralyze on it. So now let's look at the fourth skill. So fourth skill is just his summons. So as you can see, the summons, they're quite quick, and you get that guard anyway, so you're pretty safe to do the summons. As you can see, they all look the same, but if you pay close attention, the one in the front of the arrow when they're being summoned, in that V shape right there, is a lot bigger than the other ones. So I'm assuming that's just what it means by having those 2 different illusion stats right there. One of them's getting a higher increase off his base stat pool. So that's probably that big guy right there. But anyway, the summons look really cool as well, and yeah, they have quite quick attack animations right there. They're going to town. And now finally his fifth skill. So boom, we got a lot of going on there. So we have an iframe for the jump up, but then he loses the iframe as soon as he lands on the ground. As you can see, there's pillars of flames all over the place. So really like the animation on this skill. And then he has pillars of energy coming out of the ground, like all the corners from where the flames go. So yeah, overall looks really nice, and of course you are getting your, was it 4 seconds? Yeah, 4 seconds of damage immunity, so even though you do lose the iframe as soon as you hit the ground, you are still protected at least by that damage immunity, so you need to have someone with a pierce attack attacking you to be able to take damage. So overall, Corvus is looking really good. His skills seem pretty safe overall to use. The animations look really nice. And yeah, it's going to give him a nice boost in damage and survivability. Not to mention he still has, of course, his regular revives. So Corvus is going to be really tough to deal with, I think, in PvP with this uniform. So overall, I'm quite happy with this uniform, and I'm definitely going to be picking this one up for Corvus here, especially since I have already leveled him up to 70, so I'm kind of curious to see how well he'll do with this uniform. But anyway, that's going to be my thoughts on Corvus's uniform here. Hopefully you enjoyed, and of course I will. Catch you in the next one.